Excellent, 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 excellent. So excited to be back on the channel, back live with everybody. And I hope that several can come and hang out, even if it's just for a few minutes as I share some updates and different things that are happening in the world of Kirk, or the world of how it all works, however you want to say it. We've been doing some new things and then enjoying some different kinds of content, and it has been really fun. I'm telling you, like, just, the whole podcast setup for how it all works has just been a leap forward. It is the format for content that I did not know that I needed in my life, and so I'm super excited about that. Going to share a little bit about that today in this impromptu pop-up live stream. And of course, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. If you have shout outs, drop them in the chat. If you've been catching up with the podcast, make sure you drop that in the chat as well. I'll make sure to post the link so that you can see that as well. See if some of you chiming in or jumping in over on Instagram. I see some of you coming in on YouTube, some of you coming in on even Facebook. I want to say a word of thanks to each and every one for jumping in tonight. Man, listen, so much to cover. I want to just touch on a couple of things real quick. Just a recap from the masterclass as people kind of get going here. One of the things that I have learned is that there's this preconceived notion that social content is for the kids, right? That social content is dancing on TikTok or doing something that is trending or follows some of the viral moments that are happening. And many of the viral moments that we see that we laugh at aren't necessarily things that we want to emulate ourselves, because especially as professionals, especially as entrepreneurs, business owners, coaches, authors, consultants, you want to be taken seriously. You want to be seen as a thought leader in your space. You don't, even though, yes, we all love to laugh, we don't want to be seen or be the brunt or the butt of the joke. So when we see some of these things, there is a natural bend away from it because you're thinking, that's not what I want to be known for. That's not what I want to do. But let me just give you a couple of things here. Live video podcast is one form of social content. Live streaming is another type. Talking head videos, which is kind of what I'm doing now, but not vertical. Those are also a type of social content. Vlogging is another type. And there's also faceless, but I don't really get into that much. You've got feed posts, you've got produced videos, you've got quote memes, you've got audiograms, man, you've got newsletters, you've got, short emails. You have a number of different types of social content that you can sink your teeth into, and you can pick your lane and decide and determine which one is the one for you. So keep that in mind as you consider, what could content really do for me? How might it fit in that overarching strategy that I'm trying to employ to achieve my goals, reach my goals, attain my goals? And this is one of the reasons why I keep on telling folks, man, you definitely want to check us out on the How It All Works podcast. It is game changer. Like, we are giving away all of the nuggets of wisdom, all of the gold. So definitely want to make sure you to share that. Here's the three types. Here, three content bucket types. Some of you have been following. You're brand new. Some of you have never seen me live before. This is not a pre-recorded. So if you are with us tonight, to all the 7, 8, 9 of you that are watching, I got to look at 2 different platforms to calculate that number. But if you're watching, definitely want to make sure we say what's up. Yep, there's one over on YouTube. My guy Darren is with us. Sippy Cup Adventures of Northern California. What's going on? Thank you so much for being with me. It's 3 different types of content. These are the buckets that you want to neatly put your content into, especially as you're getting started. The first one is discovery. You want to be able to be discoverable. You want to put out content out there where you introduce yourself, where you share the value you have to provide, where you let people know on this platform, on this handle, on this channel, this is what you can get used to getting a steady diet of. But also, you want to make sure it's quick, it's snappy, that you're sharing and you're delivering value. Some people are chiming in for the live stream right now, and they're like, whoa, is this guy doing a masterclass? I'm actually sharing with you some of the notes from the masterclass that we've been doing for the past couple of weeks, because we're getting ready to sunset that masterclass and shift into something else. These are some of the updates that I want to share with you today. But there's 3 different content buckets, and one is discovery. I want to make sure that you're discoverable. and discovery content means you've done the work to understand the title. Make sure that the title works with the algorithm, to understand the thumbnail, make sure the thumbnail wins the click, and then make sure you hold that attention with that intro, with that hook, the first 30 seconds of the video, making sure that you get them past those first 30 seconds, because that's the hardest part. After they've seen you, it's clear to them that this is the right place, I'm in the right spot, and this is the right person. They're going to get me to where I want to be. Then they are ready to stick with you for the long haul. What's going on, Johnny E? Thank you so much for being with us tonight as well. Kerwin Bornell is on the live, says, hey, from New Jersey. Thank you so much for being with us tonight as well. Second bucket, I should say, is from you at discovery, right? These are 3 different types of content. You got the discovery bucket. The second bucket is community. That's what we're doing right now. That's why it's critical for me to put these comments on the screen. I see Texas Brown Sugar over on Instagram. I see Yum Fun Fit. Did I say that right? Over on Instagram as well. Thank you guys so much for chiming in. Thank you for watching. But this is community type. This is the clearest example of community content, right? What's going on? What's going on, Nixon's? What's going on? Thank you so much for being with us. But this is the clearest type of community content, live content. It's content that is conversational. It's content that is familiar. It's content that is two-way. And sometimes it kind of, it has its ebb and its flow. It doesn't necessarily always stick to what the title is, even though I'm going to try to stay with my updates. I'm going to share with you some of the things that we've been sharing in the masterclass. So we're kind of pulling back the veil a little bit and allowing you in, because we're sunsetting that masterclass. But there's 3 different content bucket types. The first is discovery. The second is community. And that's what we're doing right now. The third is marketing. And marketing is, if you've been following me on Instagram, I've been pushing hard in that marketing category. Just trying to make sure that people know what they can expect from me. What is the type of content? I am a content coach for sure, but I'm also a media pastor, also a digital content specialist at the media ministry where I work. There is a number of aspects of my expertise and my experience and my story that I bring to bear in this current season. Project management professional, former CIO, Chief Information Officer, but also former missionary. So, it is in me. It's in my blood to serve, and to serve at a deep level. And so one of the things that I'm really trying to coalesce all of that into is this idea of making sure that people aren't leasing their impact. More on that later. I see my good friend, Johnny E says, I love it. The multi-stream king. I love it. Love it. And then my good friend, Billy, is on the live. Thorpe Creative. He says, yo, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for coming through and hanging out with us today. One of the second things in the masterclass, I was seeking to really hit on a couple of questions. And one of those questions is, or one of those misnomers is, that my problem is topics. My problem is topics. And so what I would say to that person is, your problem is not topics. Your problem is tactics. Your problem is tactics. Your problem isn't topics. Your problem is tactics, right? And someone would say, why is my problem not topics, right? Because I can't come up with topics. Because the truth of the matter is, topics are everywhere. Topics are literally everywhere. There's no shortage of topics. We actually have to choose which topic we want to talk about. One of my favorite shows in the world is called Seinfeld, right? And Seinfeld is a show about nothing. Why did they call it a show about nothing? Because it was about everyday things that people in that particular part of the United States experienced on a regular basis. It was about trying to find a parking spot in New York City. It was about going to your favorite diner. It was about getting soup at what they call the soup Nazi. It was about whether to wear the puffy shirt or, dating a woman who had man hands. It was about all the things that we each deal with on a day-to-day basis. And it was about nothing. because there are topics literally everywhere. What's going on, Rebecca? I love to see it. Everybody's kind of chiming in. Yes, it's been a while, so excited to be able to share a little bit with you guys tonight. Topics are quite literally everywhere. Content is anything that can be consumed. Let that sink in. We talked about this on the podcast recently. Now, one of my favorite types of content is food, but most people don't consider food content. But listen, content is anything that can be consumed. Food can be art, music, video, books, scenery, travel. And here's a critical shift. No soup for you. Come on, Darren. You know it. The critical shift is solving an issue or a problem for the people you intend to serve. Solving is a required activity of life. Solving, I want to say that again, is a required activity of life. And so on the show Seinfeld, it was like, okay, how do I find the parking spot? But they figured out a way to find the parking spot. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, well, how do we get to the Yankees? Whatever it was. But they had to solve every episode of the show, every piece of content, every avenue of life is going to require you to be a solver. And so sometimes I ask people, have you solved anything? And they pause and they think it's a trick question. And the answer is if you got up out of bed today, you've already solved like 4 or 5 issues that you had to overcome. You've solved them because you planned for them the day before by setting the alarm. You solved them by going to bed early so that you could wake up on time. Your living requires solving. And if you have solved anything, then you have value to provide. You have people to serve. You've got, immense, immeasurable, unequivocal, non-negotiable hacks, tips, tricks, best practice that you can provide to the world. Everyone has 24 hours in a day. We each choose how we spend it. And I love that term, spend. I have it bold in my notes. You got to choose how you spend it. Your problem isn't topics. Your problem is tactics. And one of the shorts that I put on, I see you, Rebecca. She says, I'm doing great working on making a blanket for friends. I love that. Johnny E says, Billy, I just left Billy live a few minutes ago. The community is in the house. I love it. I love to see you guys out here doing your thing. It's always good. Always good. This comment from Darren just tickles me right now. No soup for you. Clearly my people are here because that was one of my favorite shows. Still watch it. The reruns are still epic. I mean, it's such a masterclass on life. Your problem, however, is not topics. Your problem is tactics. Overteaching is a short that I put on Instagram recently. Overteaching is an issue that many of us have. And when you overteach, what it is, you'll put like 20 topics into one video and then nobody wants to watch it because they're overwhelmed. You want to break that one video with those 20 topics into 20 videos, a series instead of one video. Show that you can solve the problem by solving the problem. But you don't necessarily have to show how. You just show that the problem is solved, and then you tell them that I have the answer. and in that same reel that I put on Instagram, I was saying that a good friend of mine was like, yo, that's not a video, that's a course. If that can be said of your content, then your problem is tactics. Your problem is how you're chopping up the value. Your problem is you're so excited about the answers, plural, that you've stumbled upon, the solutions, plural, that you've been able to amass, that you want to cram it all into one, but nobody can manage that. So you want to be able to space it out and give it to people. Space it out and give it to people in bite-sized chunks. I want to give you 4 T's to fix your topic tactics, and that was one of the promises I made on that short. And if you came to the masterclass, we'd have given you the 4 T's. But listen, if you're watching right now, you're getting a bonus, and I'm gonna leave this up for a little while, and hopefully some of you guys will be able to jump in and chop it up. I love it. I love it. Darren says on the new channel, that is. I'm really excited. I love to hear that, Darren. Here's 4 T's. Here's 4 T's, and I hope that you guys are writing. First T is translate. The first T is translate. And so here's the tactic. Translate your genius into topics. Translate the genius into topics. Your genius into topics. And here's the thing about genius. It never seems like genius to the person who does it. Never seems like genius to the person who's, for you, it's an issue of, oh, nah, all you have to do is blah, 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 blah. And everybody else is looking at you like, I can't do that. Because you're operating in genius and you don't know it. You don't recognize it. You can't see it because you're inside the bottle. Somebody outside the bottle has to tell you that you're operating in genius. You want to translate that genius, however, once you've figured out what the genius is, once you've written it down, once you've gotten a PhD in you, once you've understood what you bring to the table that no one else can, what you bring to the table that just comes out and oozes out naturally. Once you've figured out what that is, you translate that into topics. This may seem like a simple tactic, but it's probably one of the hardest ones. Translate your genius into topics. Here's the second T. Teach at 3rd grade level and language. Now, I'm not saying dumb it down. I'm simply saying nobody comes to content to feel like an idiot. So you don't want to be out here using these massive terms. I mean, one of the things that whenever I would do, tutorials on StreamYard and Ecamm and all these things, I would try my best not to use the terminology of the industry because that wasn't terminology that resonated with me anyway. It really wasn't. It was terminology that I learned over time, but because I'm not a natural media professional, this is something that I've grown into because I've learned how to speak the language of video naturally. You see, that's the name of the masterclass, leverage video naturally. Because I've learned that's something that I have learned to take on, and because I'm a student of the craft, I understand some of the terminology now, but I won't lie to you. There was a time where I didn't. And what I recognize is that the people who were looking for the answers weren't looking to be made fun of. They weren't looking to feel worse than they already did. They were already searching for the answer. So I simply share the answer where it's palatable, in a voice and in tense and tone and vernacular that is common to everybody. Teach at a 3rd grade level and language. Here's the 3rd T. Tie in your struggle to success. Ooh. Johnny E says the topic is, it is a shortage of topics, and just like that, you have a topic. You see what you just did there? I love that, Johnny E. And just like that, you have a topic. Hey, there's a shortage of topics. That's a topic. Oh my gosh, we are geniuses. We're shy about it initially. Let's be real about ourselves. Come on, Darren. Tie in your struggle to success. I think there's nothing that gives more credibility and authenticity than sharing with folks how you arrived at this particular answer, how you arrived at this particular solution. Then to share with like, yo, I was banging my head against this wall for way too long. I'm embarrassed to say how long I struggled with this thing. But when I tell you, boy, when I figured it out, it's like you could see the sun again and the clouds parted and there was a rainbow and I found the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow and you share with them because when you share with them, they're starting to feel normal. They're starting to feel like I'm in my space. I'm with my people. I'm part of my tribe. You want to tie in your struggle to success. Don't just share with them the solution. Hey, you want to fix this? Fix it like this. No, that's too, that doesn't get the subscribe. That doesn't get the follow. That doesn't engender someone to who you are and your community and what you potentially could provide them tomorrow and next week and next year. You want to be able to share with them how you arrived there. Because sometimes in the sharing of how you arrived at the answer, you are giving people a roadmap and a blueprint on how they can arrive at other answers that they are seeking. Do you want to tie in your struggle to success? But I think the biggest thing about this T is that it just makes you real. It makes you real. It makes you relatable. And here's the final T, right? We had translate your genius into topics, teach at a third grade level in language, tie in your struggle to success. Here's the fourth. You want to tweak your delivery based on feedback. That's going to be a recurring one all throughout. You want to tweak your delivery based on feedback. Tweak it, change it, shift it, rearrange it. Don't just bulldoze past the feedback that you've received. Sometimes the feedback is constructive. Sometimes the feedback is an aha moment. Sometimes the feedback is like, whoa, I did not even know that was what you took away from when I said this. And you want to tweak your delivery of the solution based on the feedback you're receiving. I've missed you, my friend. SBD is in the building. Simply Ball Dropping Podcast is on the live. He says the best production on YouTube. Look, I'm just reading what he put on screen. It's not me, it's him. But I love it. I love it. Every time he comes in, he makes an entrance when he says this. The other question that people often say is, man, my problem isn't topics. My problem is content. My problem is just the whole process, the whole thing of content. Like, I don't understand how you guys do it. I don't understand how you guys, like, I consume content, but I don't know. I guess I don't really understand. And here's the clincher. It's similar to what we said for the last question. Content is everywhere. Topics are everywhere because content is everywhere. You are the content. Somebody go ahead and type that in the chat real quick. I am the content. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to type it as well. I am the content. Yeah. I'm going to type that in the chat as well. I'm quicker than you guys. You guys are a few seconds behind, so it's going to take you guys a while before you can actually get that up there. But I'm going to type it for myself. You want to say, listen, I have a sticky note on the mirror in my bathroom that says you are the content, right? I read that thing and it's like it's glaring back at me. But some of us need to just flip it around. I am the content. You need to say that like 50 times before you head out for the day. I am the content. I am the content. I am the content. I am the content. Come on, DJ Strick. I am the content. You just need to say that. You need to say that like yeah. Say that until you start to internalize this. To say that until you start to recognize that there's literally content everywhere. That if you actually have to pick, choose, and refuse what content you will capture because it's too much. I am the content. There's content in questions. There's content in the doing of life. Yeah. Doc Bashara. There's content in school, in the work, in church, in going to the mall. There's content in going to the grocery store. A good friend of mine said he saw Coach Rowe, who is a phenomenal content creator and health coach, in the grocery store filming something for her next video. There's content in the grocery store. There's content while getting the haircut. Do I have at least one witness that has been to the barbershop and was like, man, if they turn a camera on in here, this is going to go viral. Like, there's content at the dentist. There's content while dancing. There's content while driving, because content is everywhere once you recognize that you are the content. I am the content, and wherever I am, there's something to capture. And that brings me to the real issue. The problem isn't content. The problem is capture. We simply cannot capture all of the content that's actually out there. Some of you are saying to yourself right now, like, what in the world is going on? How is he? This is the stuff that I had in the Masterclass that I'm throwing out because, ain't nobody wanted to sign up. That's fine. But I know that this is information that several of you need. So I'm just going to make it available while I move on to something else. I'm making it available while I move on to something else. Man, you could do a voice note for a caption. Grab a relevant picture and post that. once you begin to heighten your sensitivity and awareness to content, because you are the content, then you begin to recognize you literally cannot capture it all. What's going on, Doc Cheddar? Oh, what's going on? Mark the Walls is with us. Gary Jones Jr. Man, Pastor Sam is with us. Billy is on Instagram. There's a lot of folks that chimed in, or just jumping in on Instagram. They're not typing anything, but that's okay. I just want to say what's going on with you. Thank you so much for being here. Tell it like it is, Kirk. I live it. I live this content. I live this content. I live this content. Come on, Seinfeld is a perfect example of content. Anything from a parking lot to a Chinese restaurant, it's all content. It's all content. Come on, it's all content. You just can't capture it all. Capture is the real issue. Capture is the real issue. And I'm telling you, this from years of coaching, right? Session after session after session after session. And people come and they say, man, my problem is content. And I'm like, no, it's not content. Your problem is capture. Capture is the real, everybody's issue is capture. I did a reel recently where I talked about every, phone. What up, Brian Jones? What up, Park Bras? What up, Gary Jones? Every mobile phone, both iPhone and Android, the video app on there has a pause button. The video app on there has a pause button. It's a pause button. You can actually hit the record, hit pause, and then unpause while you do something else. The pause button is a phenomenal way to be able to capture. One of the things I always try to say to folks is if you learn the language of video, your natural way that you can do video, because listen, I'm gonna be clear, editing video is not a regular part of my week. And I put out a lot of video, but I do the edit in a way that feels natural to me. I do the edit ahead of time. It's like this vertical video that you see right now, I'm actually recording the wide version as well. I've got 3 cameras here. I've got the top down shot, the BTS shot. Now you're seeing the full shot on the top. I've got my screen on this side. Now you're seeing that I'm looking at Instagram, looking at my website, looking at howitallworks.com, looking at my new podcast. Now I've got comments. You can see my comments screen here. You can see that Impact just says, keep going, Kirk. Good work. I'm learning and getting inspired. Come on. Your problem is not content. Your problem is how you're capturing the content. You haven't made it accessible. You've put it way too far out there. It's so hard for you to capture the content. So that's why you don't do it. We make it into this mountain that is insurmountable. And so every time you think about capturing content, you say to yourself, yo, not now. That's too hard. But you've got to keep trying. You got to keep on plugging away at it. You got to feel your way through. Is there a way for me to capture this that feels a little more natural for me? What if you set up 4 different scenes? Grab your phone, record one piece in one seed, hit the pause button, go to the next scene, record another piece, hit the pause button, go to the next scene, record another piece, and hit the end button, because that video is now complete. It's finished. It's done. It doesn't need to be edited because you edited already by setting up those scenes ahead of time. Problem isn't content. The problem is capture. And we got to look at how we're capturing things in ways that make it more natural for us. So I want to give you 5 C's for content capture. 5 C's for content capture. 5 C's for content capture. Are you ready? You all we got 26 people on. All of you, all 26 of you guys. I'm asking you right now to go get your pen and paper. 5 C's for content capture. I'm not putting any of this on screen. You got to write it down. 5 C's. Curate a frictionless recording space. Let me go back to you. You see this? It looks like a lot, but it's frictionless. It's frictionless. It allows me to show up. It allows me to hit a button and record. And I will listen, the easier I can make it, the more I will work on that thing. Why? Because the more friction I can remove from my recording space, the more I will want to do that again and again and again and again. And this is a whole cheat code for content creators out there. If you want to figure out ways to monetize what you're doing, you want to become the easy button for the people you're serving. When they hit you, it's done. All right. You want to become the easy button for the people that you're serving. That's a whole nother thing for another time. My point is, when people realize that that process was simple and easy, when people come to me and they're like, hey, I'd like to get this video done, I'm not really certain how to do it. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. And then I turn back out a video. They're like, whoa, that was easy. I wonder if we could do that again. That's the immediate response of anybody who feels like something was easy. Something wasn't a heavy lift. Something was frictionless. You want to be able to curate, that's your first C, a frictionless recording space. What's going on with you, Migs? I love seeing you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. Convo Courses says, what streaming platform do you use? I use Ecamm Live Pro. And Ecamm Live Pro gets me all the way across the line. It's quite literally everything. And again, such a great question for right here in the presentation, because when we're talking about curating a frictionless, bring it down off the top shelf. When you're talking about curating a frictionless recording space, you want to be able to put together something that allows you to click some buttons. And that's the thing. Listen, that's it. The fact that I can click like I had my senior pastor come in, sit down, and record 5 videos back to back to back. Those videos did not need to be edited. Those videos were used in a course that he's putting on his own platform. We did not have to do any prep work. He was able to put his notes on the teleprompter. He hit the button. He hit the end button. When he finished the first 2 videos, he looked at me. He was like, that's just too easy. That's too easy not to do it again and again and again. And that's too easy. It's so easy that when you have an idea while you're watching TV with the family and you're like, that's a video, you can go to your frictionless recording space and record because you've made it easy. You've made it into an experience that you would say, yo, I'm doing that again. And I'm doing it again. What's going on, Anthony Cords? And I'm doing it again. And I'm doing it again. Curate a frictionless recording space. Here's the second C. Carve out time for spontaneous content. Some people are hearing spontaneous and carve, and they're like, how do you plan for spontaneous? You plan for spontaneous. I don't even know how else to describe it to you. You plan for spontaneous. You plan for it. You plan for it. You know, last week we were doing some advertising. My wife was being featured on every TV station in Huntsville. Every TV station in Huntsville. And if the time we needed to be in studio was at 11 a.m., we got there at 10. Why? Because we were planning. We were carving out time for spontaneous content. Because while we were there waiting, we met some other people that we invited to the Bold Market, which was yesterday, and it was a phenomenal success. While we were waiting, we were able to record a reel with one of the other hosts for a different show. While we were waiting, I recorded something for my own channel, for my own content. You got to carve out time for spontaneous content. You never know when inspiration will hit you. And sometimes the setting you're in is the additional component to the video, making it that much more impactful. I did a video while I was in South Africa, and I was within viewing distance of these guys who were, helping these parasailers take off and launch off of the side of what I guess you would call the mountain. All right. So these parasailers, they would run beside them, and they would run and they would take off. And that joint was absolutely phenomenal. And as I'm watching this thing, I'm like, that's me. The guys running beside the parasailer and the guide, helping them to catch the air so that they could take off down the mountain. I said to myself, wait a minute, that's me. That's what I do in coaching. That's what I come alongside people and help them to get further, faster, higher than they would ever get on their own. That's me. I pulled out the phone and I began to record those thoughts, and I shared that reel, and that reel turned into some clients that came in. There's content everywhere. But the problem isn't the content. The problem is, how do you capture it? Carve out time for spontaneous content. I see my guy RK3 is in the chat. Carve out time for spontaneous content. Then you want to, here's a third C, change your capture workflow order. Your capture workflow order is what's messing you up. You're editing after you record it. No, edit before. Record the B-roll ahead of time and then put it in place so that you can press play when you're ready for the B-roll. Yeah. Put the lower third and the graphic and the quote meme and the different, put them all ahead of time. Plan it so that when you're ready for it, you can just call for it, because you're changing your workflow order so that it'll serve you better. Control what you can and accept what you can't. That's your fourth C. Curate, carve, change your capture workflow order. Here's the fourth C. Control what you can and accept what you can't. I'm not even going to stay there. Control what you can and accept what you can't. The fifth C is create a cycle for continuous improvement. This is that's that cycle. You remember we talked about that. Come on. And it might just end up being B-roll. Talk about it. It might just end up being B-roll because you carved out time for spontaneous content. It might just end up being B-roll. I love that, RK3. I'm gonna leave y'all alone. Trust me, I don't have a whole lot more for you today. I'm lying. I still got like 2 more sections. I don't know if maybe I might have to split this up. I'll come back next Monday and share with you the other 2 segments of the masterclass. But I wanted to share with you these things, and I hope it was meaningful. I hope what we have been sharing thus far. Come on, Troy C. Clark says this is good stuff, Kirk. This is good stuff. I'm hoping it's resonating. Oh, come on, GW Chu is on the live. What's good? My cousin is on the live. Cornelia Salmon says congratulations. That's what's up. Listen, I hope that's resonating with you. I hope it's resonating. I'll just say this. One of the other questions I constantly get when it comes on to content is that I'm not good at selling. I'm not good at selling. And I said something earlier when I talked about life requires solving. And if life requires solving, that means by the time you get to work in the morning, you've already solved about 10, 15 problems. And when people say to me, I'm not good at selling, my strong retort is that your problem is not selling, your problem is solving. So a call to action isn't necessarily a hard sell. An offer is also not a hard sell. You've got to shift your perspective to look at these things as an opportunity to serve rather than an opportunity to be served. I can't coach somebody unless they sign up for coaching. And if I never give them the opportunity to sign up for coaching, then guess what? I can't serve them. Yeah. Signing up for coaching is going to cost them some money because as it should, because I'm going to coach them. But I don't get to serve unless I give them the offer. It benefits your audience and clients, but it also benefits you. It solves a problem because selling is solving. Selling is solving. Come on, James Higgs. Selling is solving. That's all it is. When I say to somebody, I was trying to figure out how I can record myself with my cell phone while I'm on a live stream. And because, I was tired of just trying to prop it up against the monitor or against the Rodecaster Pro. I was tired of propping it up to try and sell. to try and record myself. So what I did is I found this little guy on Amazon. Yeah, this guy right here, I found him. And then I realized if I put, look, put it like that, you see the camera on that side? You see what that looks like? And I realized if I put it like that, and then I just put it, look, I'm going to put it where you can see it. All right, I'm going to put it where you can see it. Let me move my keyboard a little bit. And if I put it like that, guess what? That thing can record me, and I can look at you, and it's still recording me. And I'm just going to put this right outside of the camera shot. It's right here. It's going to record me. This, let me put the phone down. This solved my problem of propping my phone up to record me because I am the content while I am actually making content. This solved my problem. Are you seeing what I'm saying already? So if this solved my problem, all I've got to ask you is, do you have the same problem too? Because if you have the same problem, guess what? You might want to buy this. See, I didn't sell this to you. I simply said that this is the solution to the problem that I had, past tense. I no longer have the problem because I have this. This is my solution. You see, this is not a sell, this is a solve. I solve the problem with this. And so because I solve the problem with this, and you, or maybe not you, but somebody else that's watching has the same problem, they're asking me for the link. Can you put the link in the chat? I'm not selling it. I'm just sharing what solved the problem for me. And this is this shift that must take place when people say, I'm not good at selling. I don't know how to make the offer. I don't know how to land the plane. It is selfish to shine a floodlight on an issue and not provide a solution. And so for me, if I do this live stream tonight and I conjure up in you the feelings that you need a coach, and I never offer you the opportunity to be coached by me, I'm actually doing you a disservice. I'm actually I'm being selfish by not doing the CTA. I'm not being a good steward by making you hyper aware of the issues that we both face and letting you know I have found a solution, but I can't really give it to you because I'm not willing to give you an offer. I'm not willing to share with you the call to action because I feel like I'm not good at selling. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I bet someone in here need that one. We need one of those right now. Come on. Antoine Speller says, you must invest to be blessed. Come on. Thank you, Kirk. I appreciate the pop-up. Come on. Selling is solving an issue. Come on. James Hicks says, good point. Testimonial of a solved problem equals future sale. GW True says, sharing what solved the problem with the strong arm and the fire emoji. Listen, I'm going to give you 4 S's. I want to go, but I feel like I got to let me just close it out because I don't know when I'm going to go live again. Clearly, this is not the method that people are enjoying from me. So I just figure, I'm going to just share what I got. You can watch it on replay. You can write down these 4 S's if you want to. But if you're looking to get better at solving, what's going on, Leslie Samuel? If you're looking to get better at solving, here is my 4S framework for video marketing. Here's the first S: shift from taking advantage to being the advantage. Oh gosh, that's too good. Let me turn off the live. I am the advantage. Come on. I'm not taking advantage of those I'm selling to. I am the advantage of those that I've been called to serve. I'm the cheat code. I'm the linchpin. I'm the bed. I'm the stepping stone to get you from where you are to where you want to be. I'm the advantage. And once you begin to look at what you have to offer from that perspective, let me tell you something, things are going to shift. People will see value in what you have to offer because they will see you as the advantage. And let me tell you, if you don't see yourself that way, then pause until you figure out, until you work on yourself, until you get to a mental space where you know beyond the shadow of I am the advantage. Okay, that's your first F. You want to shift. First S, you want to shift. The second S, study the pain you seek to alleviate. Study the pain. Become a student of the pain you seek to. You got to know the pain you alleviate better than the people who are experiencing it. Study it. Become a student of it. Look at it from every angle, every side, such that you can hear the pain that you alleviate even when they're not directly talking about it. Study it. Here's the third S, speak the language of victory. Oh my goodness. My boy Leslie said, you're preaching or teaching, because I feel the need to confess. Oh gosh, my boy Leslie said, you need to confess out here tonight. Sold to the gentleman in the 2020 hindsight t-shirt. Come on. Listen, speak the language of victory. Ooh, man, I remember when I used to do it like that. And I used to struggle. And man, I was heavy. It was a heavy burden. And man, I used to hit the record button on 3 cameras. And then, I used to clap to get the audio to sync. And then I had to make sure that I would hit the record on the audio recorder device. And then I had to dump the SD cards and make sure I lined them up all on the timeline before, a Final Cut and DaVinci had the auto align feature. You had to line it up right. So you had to look for that clap I remember I struggled. It took me hours to get one video done. I remember, but now I'm able to hit record and have my B-roll and have my cutaways and have 4 angles of different looks of the camera, and I'm done when I hit done, and I'm able to upload that video. You speak the language of victory. Language of victory. Victory has a tonality to it. It has a tense. It has a sound to it. Victory has a certain accent. It will betray you. Even if you try to be humble, people will be like, that's a victorious guy right there. You speak the language of victory. You don't have to tell them that you won. You just speak the language of victory. Yeah. And then the last S is to share your personal experience, because there's no way to speak the language of victory without telling people from whence you've come, without telling people what your story is, without telling people what you have gone through to be able to provide to them the value that you're sharing today. Session after session after session of coaching, person after person from different walks of life, different backgrounds, different channels, different focuses, different niche, different expertise, different time frames, different familiarity. And I'm telling you, these are some of the bedrock issues that I found across every single one of them. Oh, I'm not good at selling. I don't have enough time. I don't get content. I don't have topics. And as we go, and as I would go through every one of these with them, we'd peel away those excuses, and we get to the crux of the issue. And the crux of the issue was a mindset, not anything that was outside in the real world. Because the last segment says your problem isn't latitude. Your problem isn't that you don't have, time and space and latitude in your day and your schedule. Your problem isn't latitude. Your problem is language. Latitude in your schedule, latitude in your responsibility, latitude in your skill set. That's not the problem. Your language reveals your limiting beliefs. what we say versus what it really is. You may say that I don't have enough time, but really what you're saying is I don't really know how to set my priority. I don't actually have the right priority set. You may say that the issue is my skill set, but the true bedrock issue is that you don't really have a desire. Because if you had a burning desire will cause you to learn the skill set so you can do the thing. You will overcome any hurdle if you have a strong enough desire. So when it's not latitude, it's language. Some will tell you that, well, I'm overextended. No, you've got a choice problem. Your no is not a no and your yes is not a yes. You haven't recognized that when you say yes to this, you've said no to all of these. You can't tell people, oh, I really would love to do that, but I'm just so busy. No, you just don't know how to leave room in your schedule for the unknown, for God to just slap you upside the head with some blessings. You just fill every waking moment of the day with activity. Overextended people are people who've chosen to be that way. They don't have a no. Their yes doesn't really mean much. When somebody says this is hard, and then another person looks at the exact same thing and says this will be worth it. Oh gosh, I don't even know how else to say it to you. That it'll be worth it. That it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it because nothing that's worth having is not hard. Come on, I mean, if everything was easy, right? I mean, I'm just talking with y'all tonight. I know. I'm rambling now. The 30 or 40 people that were watching earlier is dwindled down to like 15 or 10 or something like that. But anything that's worth having, I'm going to brag about how hard I had to work to get it. So when somebody says this is hard, that's just another version of saying this is going to be worth it. Let me just share with you these 4 L's. These 4 L's to activate radical action. 4 L's to activate radical action. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get out your way. Preparation shows vision. Without vision, people perish. Come on, Antoine. Gary Jones says, yes. I love to see your comments. You know I love to see your comments. I see several of you chiming in over on Instagram, but you're not typing. I want you to type. 4 L's to activate your radical. 4 L's to activate radical action. To activate radical action. The first L is lead your day with better calendar habits. You want to lead your day. You lead the day. You don't let the day lead you. I don't look at the calendar to see what I have for the day. I put the things for the day on the calendar. Lead your day with better calendar habits. Because the truth of the matter is, putting it on the calendar is just only like maybe 20% of the deal, 20% of the success. The 80% of the success, all right, comes from the second L, and that is look for visibility and accountability. Look for it, seek it out. Tell somebody that what you're gonna do for the day. And tomorrow I'm gonna record 4 videos. Oh, for real? Yep. Oh my God, Leslie, I think you recorded almost 6 months worth of content in a day. You know how you do that? You got to plan your day. You got to lead your day. You got to have accountability and visibility. You got to tell your family, hey, on August 25th, I'm going to record the entire day. So whatever you need to get from me before then, because August 25th, I need you guys all to work with me because I need to lock in because I'm going to record for that day. That's visibility and accountability, Bill. That's to have a coach, to have an immovable sounding board, to have an accountability partner, to have a colleague, a mastermind, a group of people who are not impressed with you, but who are vested in your success. To have to make sure that you have that space curated already. You can go to that group and say, I'm going to do this. And that thing more than likely will get done because you shared it with someone else. You want to lead your day with better calendar habits. You want to look for visibility and accountability. Here's the third L, and that is to learn the power of setting deadlines. You want to learn the power of setting deadlines. That one is almost self-explanatory. I don't really need to say too much. You set the deadline. You put it on the calendar. You tell your family about it. You talk to your accountability group about it. You set the deadline. Guess what? That's a foolproof a strategy to take radical action. Here's the fourth, and I'm done. You want to listen to feedback and constructive criticism. That's it. That's the whole class. That's the whole class. And for those of you that got a chance to hang out for the whole time, I'm glad you were here. I appreciate it, man. I just wanted to be able to come on tonight and give some updates, share a little bit about what I got going on. That class is sunset. That class was called From Friction to Flow. That class was called Leverage Video Naturally. That class was called Your Next Video Done. We came at it from different angles, hoping to attract some folks. But I wanted to share it with you guys tonight because that class is concluded. That class is finished. That class is no more. That class done. I have the notes. If you're interested in learning some more about that, you can book a session. You can book a coaching call. And we can go over it. We can fine tune it to make sure it works for you. Because the truth is that even though I have shared with you all of the different tenets of the class, it's still not going to mean much unless you tailor it and customize it to your particular situation, to your needs. One of the things I realized, man, is that in the course of doing the things that I do, I came across this phenomena, this eventuality, this reality that there are those who are leasing their impact. There are those who are leasing their impact. Let me try that again. There are those who are leasing their impact. They lease it out to the highest bidder. They share their impact to anybody who is willing to call them and bring them on their platform and give them an opportunity to serve and to share, because they know it's gonna be a banger. They know it's gonna really resonate. Over the past 5 years, I'd say I have in some cases knowingly and in other cases unknowingly helped launch multiple six-figure personal brands. And through what I've just shared with you in terms of live video strategy, in terms of leveraging video naturally, I've given them the structure to maintain it at high quality without having to become a full-time content creator. Like in some cases with one CEO, this guy is cranking out, over 100 pieces of content with 2 hours of recording per month. And one of the things I started to notice a pattern, especially with my long engagement clients who have influence, who have gravitas, if you will, right? Who have stature in their particular space. They're seen as authority figures. They had these strong followings, and they provide through their content of sorts, right? They provide regular moments of profound impact. But the term, I couldn't use any other term but to say that they were leasing that impact to whatever organization or podcast or entity that gave them a platform. Leasing it, y'all. Sharing it with whoever was willing to bring them on. And they weren't even, leasing is even a misnomer because they weren't even being paid. And in a lot of these cases, as you begin to chat with them in close quarters, you kind of hear this unmet desire. These guys are running from event to event. They're booked and busy. I'm going to be clear on this. They're booked and busy, running from event to event, somewhat fulfilled, but they were wanting more. And they were struggling to answer the question, what should I do next? And through a process that I learned over time, we were able to help them no longer struggle to answer that question. We were able to set up structured avenues for their audience to access their genius. And today they enjoy a steady stream of referral-based opportunities and clarity on which ones are for them and which ones are not. And for many of them, their brand is synonymous with their unique and ever-growing authority, leaving a trail of success in its wake. And that's what I'm turning my attention to. I've been putting together those details. I've been kind of honing in those markers, the blueprint, the step by step guides to help those with influence stop leasing their impact. You can set up their own digital headquarters and allow their audience. You know, I was one of the guys, I can't name some of these folks, right? But one of the guys is a professional football player. This guy had a ridiculous following. Every week he had a ridiculous following. People knew his stats, knew his name, knew his family, but he had no headquarters on the web. He had nothing that he could call his own. Every podcast he went on, every show, every stage he stood on to speak, every event he graced, if his picture was on the flyer, that joint was going to be a success. And none of it was his own. And if that is you, I'm simply saying, y'all, listen, I've got the blueprint. I'm ready to run. If you want to stop leasing your impact, it's going to be a version of what I've shared here today in terms of, the content strategy, but specifically geared towards those who have influence, who already have an audience. They've already had impact. People are following. Oh man, we had a young lady come to our church and speak, and people drove from some 2 and 3 hours away to hear her because they don't know where they're gonna hear her again. You see what I'm saying? Setting up that space, having that platform that enables your audience to know exactly when and where and how much of your genius they can access. Not for free. I want to be clear. We're going to monetize that bad boy. But having that clear path and strategy is what I'm shifting my focus towards. That's something I've been doing in the background for quite a long time. That means some clients that I've worked with to help launch what they do and to have their own platform, something that they can call their own, something that is not for the entities they work for, the people who contract them, the people who they guest with. No, this is their own thing. And I'm excited for this new space that we're going to embark upon. But what does that mean? It means that the content from this platform is going to look a little different. It's going to look a little different. I'm sharing with y'all now to go and hit up howitallworks.com and check out the podcast. We're going to be sharing nothing but game in that podcast on a regular basis. I got my guy, my mentor, my friend, one of my accountability guys right here. This is somebody as part of my success matrix. Dr. Brian Taylor, he was in town. I got a chance to have him come through and sit down with me, and we had a conversation about by beholding you become change, the power of communication. Again, it's invaluable content. We're only on episode 6 of the podcast, and I'm telling you, some of the feedback has been absolutely amazing. If you have not seen it, I would encourage you to go check it out. Howitallworks.com. I'm going to drop that link in the chat. Let's go right here. Let me drop this link in the chat out. I want to make sure you guys get a chance to check that out if you can. Howitallworks.com has got the latest and greatest. If you go to the watch page on howitallworks.com, you'll be able to, where is the watch page? But if you go to the watch page, you'll be able to see the videos in sequential order as well. And so there you have it. There they are, all on the watch page. So definitely want to make sure you guys get a chance to go check that out. If you go to kirkarnugent.live/pod, right? I'm just going to put that in the chat as well. That's going to get you to the actual playlist on YouTube where the podcast lives. So I'll put that in the chat as well. So, for some, they might want to do that. But if you are someone who wants to stop leasing your impact, you want to own it for yourself, you want to create your own digital headquarters, this is something that I'm going to be focusing on and would love to be able to have you in our next masterclass. Definitely would love to have you in our next masterclass. So you just need to head on over to kirkarnugent.com to be able to check that out. It is in my bio on Instagram. It is in the description on Facebook and YouTube of the video that we're watching, but I've also just placed it on the screen in the chat for those on YouTube. But of course, that doesn't necessarily work for those on Facebook and on Instagram. But hopefully you guys can go ahead and check that out as well. But I'm telling you, there's something that happens. There's a synergy that takes place. There's a peace that settles when you find when you find the thing that you feel that for this particular season, this is what God is calling me to do, is to help people take ownership of their digital footprint, help people take ownership and create their digital headquarters, right? To help people really understand the impact that they can have when they create the infrastructure that's necessary to be able to build, to be able to bless, to be able to serve. Talk about leverage your experience and solidify your legacy. That's what I'm turning my attention towards. But I tell you what, I still absolutely love what I do, as you can tell. So I'm excited for several of you guys to be able to hang out with us tonight for the full hour. We're just at over an hour at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and run. I don't see any questions in the chat, so I figured there's no questions for me. There was plenty of comments, but I don't see any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it right there. But y'all, listen, everything is on that page right there, kirkarnugent.com. If you go there, you'll find the podcast. If you go there, you'll find the watch page. If you go there, you'll find the masterclass. If you go there, you'll find consult sessions and other ways to be able to work with me if you so desire. But if you really just you just need a boost, you need an injection of inspiration and insight. I'm telling you, pouring all the effort and energy into the podcast. So would love for you to be able to take that journey with us. But man, this has been good. This has been good. I see you out there, Antoine Speller. This has been good. Super excited for this next chapter as we turn our attention and effort and energy towards really helping people build something that is going to last, something that's going to have longevity and impact for years and years and years to come. Excited for that. And I'm hoping that you're doing the same for yourself. I don't care where you find yourself on, in this whole content creator journey. If you're brand new, if you've been doing it for a while, but things aren't necessarily clicking, or if you're experiencing radical success and you're just kind of like basking in that thing, listen, regardless of what is going on, make sure you have at least 1-2 more videos ready to post. You just never know who needs the value that you're going to provide. And the value can come in so many different ways. You just have no idea the experiences, y'all. Like, I by no means do I have a lot of subscribers on my channel, but I'm telling you, the impact that I've been able to have, the impact that God has allowed me to have, has been exponential. Some of the stories, goosebumps when you really get a chance to think about it. So that's it for me. I was just kind of talking it up a little bit there to see if anybody had any questions, but I guess not. But that's fine, y'all. Listen, we had a good time tonight. I see several of you still coming through over on Instagram. I know for some of you, this is your first time to see me live. And I'm excited, because, the followers have been growing and growing and growing on Instagram since we've been changing up our strategy over there. If you are looking for content specific strategy, hacks, tips, tricks, best practices, if you're looking for, strategies to be able to crush your limiting beliefs, shift your perspective, turn the page on a new paradigm. I'm telling you, you want to stick right here. Hit that subscribe. Make sure you're following. Notification bell turned on. We got a lot of stuff coming down the pike. It's your boy Kirk Nugent, the Geek Speak Preacher. Excited for what we are going to do in this space. I need to say this. There's no. Your content is your digital storefront. Your content is your digital storefront. No better way to go from busy and broke to peaceful and paid than for your audience, your waiting audience, to see you do your thing consistently while on your content. And with that said, family, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. It's your boy Kirk Nugent, the Geek Speak Preacher. Excited and happy for your time and attention tonight. We'll see you around these internet streets or in another video. Grace and peace, fam.